Alright, so in this video, I'm going to start talking about Chapter 9, which is another application of welfare economics in the context of international trade. So for this video, I'm going to be focusing on explaining the notion of exports and imports using a supply and demand diagram. I'm going to begin with defining what a small open economy is. So for the purpose of illustration, let's consider the markets for goldfish. So as shown in the diagram below, country A is just one country within a larger world where there are many other countries. And there are consumers and producers of goldfish within country A as well as in other countries all over the world. And the demand and supply of goldfish within country A, they will determine an equilibrium price of goldfish in country A's market. So we're going to call this price the domestic price of goldfish. This is the price, again, within country A. However, since there are other countries who are also producing and demanding goldfish, so we're going to say the price from the rest of the world of goldfish is the so-called world price, denoted by PW. So if all of the three following conditions are met, we're going to call country A small open economy. So first of all, we're going to assume that country A's action cannot influence the world price PW. This is what makes country A small. And also, if consumers in country A have the option to purchase goldfish from other countries at PW, and producer in country A have the option to sell goldfish to abroad at PW, then we're going to call country A small open economy. Because in this context, we're basically allowing imports, which corresponding to the second condition. Consumer can buy goods from abroad, that's imports. And we also have export, which correspond to the third case, because we're allowing producers to sell their goldfish to other countries. This is export. So if country A is small and it can import and export, basically doing trade with other countries from the rest of the world, we're going to call country A small open economy. So in this video, I'm going to show you two things using supply and demand diagram. Okay, so first of all, if the world price is lower than the domestic price, country A will be importing goldfish. And if world price alternatively is higher than the domestic price, country A will then be exporting goldfish. So before doing the diagram, I want to stress one thing, which is after a country opens free trade, then the world price PW will be the new equilibrium price that matters. Because again, country A is so small. So after it opens free trade, so all the consumers and producers within country A, they have incentive to buy and sell goldfish at the world price. So nobody gonna care about PE anymore. So put it differently, you can think of a PW as some sort of price control after country A opens free trade, in the sense that the equilibrium price will be forced to change from PE to PW. So let's do imports first. So assume that my friend Chase, he's a consumer in country A, and his willingness to pay for goldfish is $5. And remember, willingness to pay captures a consumer's maximum valuation of, in this case, goldfish. So, which means that Chase, he's not willing to pay more than $5 for a box of goldfish. We're also going to assume that the domestic price of goldfish is $8 and the world price is $3. So in the first case, when country A does not trade with other country, so here's what happens. The equilibrium price of the market will be $8, the domestic price of goldfish. And where is Chase? Since Chase's willingness to pay is only $5, so he's clearly below the equilibrium level. Okay, so he's down here. And in this case, since Chase's willingness to pay is lower than the equilibrium price, he's unhappy because he's not able to afford his beloved goldfish. What would happen if country A decided to trade with other countries at the world price, which is $3? Okay, so this becomes a good news for Chase because although he's not willing to pay up to $8, but his willingness to pay $5 is greater than the world price, $3. As I mentioned earlier, after a country opens free trade, the price of goldfish is forced to be reducing from 8 to 3 in this case. So Chase's willingness to pay is greater than the new equilibrium price, which is $3. So now he becomes a consumer in the market of goldfish. And more generally, after a country is doing imports, so all the domestic consumers are better off because the price level is reduced from $8 to $3. Since consumers pay a lower price and the consumer surplus is willingness to pay minus price. If everybody pay a lower price, that means everybody have a higher consumer surplus. They become better off. What about producer? Producer surplus is price minus cost of production. So after the equilibrium price reduced from 8 to 3, so all sellers receive a lower price for goldfish. So this makes every seller getting worse off. What about export? As I mentioned earlier, a country would do export if and only if the world price is higher than the domestic price. And this is why we're going to draw the export with PW on top of PE. Okay, so PE is right here and PW is right there. So in this case, at this new world price, which is higher than the domestic price, we can see that the quantity supply is clearly greater than the quantity demand. So in this case, the difference between these two quantities, QS minus QD, would be the size of the export of country A. Similarly, going back to this import graph, since in this case, a country would do import if and only if the world price is lower than the domestic price, and for any price below the equilibrium price, quantity demand is greater than the quantity supply. Therefore, the horizontal difference between QS and QD would be the size of the imports. So we have imports equals QD minus QS. Okay?